Doing a quick sound test.
Sound test.
Alright. We are back. Quick sound test.
Sound test.
Yes, indeed. Right. So, welcome to Thursday. Yesterday on stream we were looking at the funnel web spiders, and I'm wondering today, we've got a choice. I can either carry on with the funnel webs. Basically, the next thing to do with them is to decorate them. So, put some random scenery around them, some stuff that cover, maybe cast a shadow so they don't look like they're in the blazing sunlight. Alternatively, I think I'm going to start with this, and if it doesn't go well, I might switch back to working on the funnel web. We could have a look at the day-night cycle and how that works. Now, that will take some reminding of myself of how to deal with it. I remember it not being as straightforward as I wanted it to be last time I tried to do something with it. But I think once I got my head around it, it was fine. Again, it wasn't me that set up the day-night cycle. That was our artist and one of the back-end programmer guy, Matt. So that's why I'm not 100% sure on how it and how to use it. But we'll start by taking a look at that. So let's.
How are the sound levels, everyone? Chicken Stuffer says it's a bit quiet.
I can turn a little bit
Turn up a bit, but how are we doing, everyone else? Hello, Chicken Stuffer. Hello, Liquid Putin.
Liquid Putin, of course.
First time he's caught us live, apparently.
Hey.
Unlucky. ZVWRS, hello. Remember you from the last couple of streams. Evocracy, hello. Yeah, Evocracy says it sounds fine. Hi, Mako again. Back with us. Big Spud Gun says, still not got this game, but is interested. One of the major points that I am appreciating very much is seeing active development and process via Twitch. Keep it up. Yeah, we want to involve you guys, particularly with Freeplay, but with everything. Yeah, we try to be as active as we can with everyone. Okay.
Okay, so I've got this day-night object, which this thing controls the time of day, as far as I'm aware. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a few experiments to start with. I'm just going to open the level blueprint. This should be pretty much empty. I'm just going to make it change the time of day as I press keyboard keys. Just to... Okay, so... Numpad 0. I need to bring in a reference to the day-night manager. Something like time? Custom time dilation. No, that's not right. Variables. Get time in day. Set daytime intensity. Set first time interval. Set nighttime intensity. I'm wondering whether it's this time in day. So if I change that to, for example, 1. I'm not sure though. I think that might be because there's something here called... Oh, it's length of day, so it's not time in day.
Welcome everyone, welcome Wizzy Woo, welcome Ayun Kundedala. I think I pronounced that semi-correctly. Welcome Anna Podder 99. Welcome Anna Banana 42. Are there plans for console release, says Anna Banana, or do you only plan on distributing through Steam? It really depends, is the answer to that. If the final release of the game does really well on Steam and there's demand for it, then we might think about consoles. But not now, but not definitely ruling it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's have a look. Simon Vunnell loves the game, wants to see more levels. There will be more.
There will be more levels.
Yeah, John's developing Freeplay mode here, which will be a much longer game form. With lots of random events and difficulty settings and stuff you can set up yourself, that kind of thing.
Okay, we have an issue. We have an issue, and this might be to do with some restructuring that Matt's doing at the moment.
Windows 10 port to Xbox. It's not quite as straightforward as that.
Yeah.
We really wish it was, but yeah, for legal and technical reasons.
This might be the... Right. Gonna see what happens if I don't begin with that open.
Sebelito007 says, "Hey guys, huge fan of the game. Played the demo like 10 times. Are you guys going to release some keys for us?" I guess occasionally we might do some giveaways here and there.
Not for a long
Not for a while. We've only just released.
There was one. There was a competition on Zillion at some point.
There was a competition which we tried to promote as best we could. To give a few keys away. Seraphine says, "Your stream dates are unfortunate. Missed the first one. I'm going to miss this one as well because I got to go in like 30 minutes." Understandable, my friend. We're all on a working week, but of course, they are always on uploaded to YouTube, and there's the VODs on Twitch as well. Said the ZVWRS PC Master Race. For now, absolutely.
I need to speed up the spawning of these ants. Just running these tests is taking ages. I think I need to contact Matt because the surface has disappeared.
Yeah. Do you want to take a bit of time out to talk to Matt? Change the Twitch screen to just the standard one, and I'll just answer some questions for a short while you talk to him.
Once I've run a test.
Yeah. Hi, Tony Bjorn again. Gorath kickstarted this. Been cool to watch the development of Gold. Thank you, Gorath.
Yeah, there's been an issue. They're not doing that job either. Huh.
How long's the project being worked on? Chicken Stuffer asks. Since we moved to the new engine, just over 2 years. But before that, the guys were developing on their own engine for quite some time, at least another couple of years, and then the game goes back further than that from its inception idea stage. So a good long time. I'm
going to speak to Matt.
Okay, so John needs to speak to one of the other developers to help him out with an issue at the moment. So this is the time to ask questions, guys. Yeah, and John's going to just move the camera around so you can see a bit more of me. Yeah, Matt needs to talk to one of the other devs. eDevil666 says no sound, or is it just me? It's just you, but you're not going to hear that. Could someone tell eDevil? Actually, I'll type it. 666. It's just you. Ooh, very scary says, I asked this yesterday, but I don't know if you answered it. Will there be other insects to play with or only ants? I don't know quite how to answer that. There's a chance that we add other insects.
There's a chance. We'll see.
Never say never again, as we always say. Mako, so yesterday was asking about the possibility to add more ants into the first group we get at the start. Is it possible? Oh, you're talking about the queen tiles there. It's not something that's currently planned, but it could happen. We'd have to make a separate kind of ant, like a queen tile kind of thing. But it's not something that we currently have and have planned. And there's not a real need for it because you can just build new worker tiles as a separate group. Like the way you developers communicate with us. That's what I miss by lots of games. Yeah, it's something we try to do, and the guys have made a real effort for that. John here, who is one of the three devs on the game, did all of this stuff, all the social media, all the trying to communicate and give you guys as much information as possible by himself before they took me on to kind of take on that role. It is super important, and we do not underestimate the gravity it has with kind of the success of the project and the happiness of the people we're trying to please as well is the main point really. So yeah, we do our best. We do our best. E-Devil sorted out his sound problems. That's fantastic. Okay, what else? It'd be cool if you could add a group of slave makers that will storm your nest in Freeplay. It's an idea, isn't it, John? Have slave makers in Freeplay as an enemy.
See, at the moment, the slave makers AI code is only deals with the underground because they've never needed to be overground. But it's not a bad call.
Yeah,
it's like an event.
It could work. Yeah,
because I wanted to bring in. It's one of the things that's down the road on this is events. So it's not currently planned to be in the first form of Freeplay, but events that happen during the game. So maybe it's a massive attacks or slave makers could work. So yeah, it's a good thought.
I think that's a good suggestion, that one.
Yeah.
I like it, yeah. Okay, checking back up. It's rare to see the belly of the beast and how a dev works. Sure, but I imagine you'd be slightly disappointed that John's not sat there with like 8 screens and and 5 keyboards. It's not like a TV hacker thing. It's a bloke on a computer. If you guys are wondering why I'm here, by the way, I'm not some kind of weird home invader. I'm the Slug Disco community officer, and I'm also, by pure coincidence, John's brother. So yeah, that's why I'm currently staying in his house. Yeah, I've not just invaded a colleague's personal space. Will we get more neutral enemies like that bombardier beetle I suggested? That's a terrifying suggestion. Neutral enemies, absolutely. There will be certainly things that aren't aggressive and just walk around. I don't know if bombardier beetle exactly terrifying because we haven't quite.
They are cool creatures.
They are certainly cool. Yeah, undeniably. I mean, there are many insects that are cool. We haven't quite nailed down what the creatures we'll be adding into the future levels will be, but there's certainly the possibility. I mean, we've had many suggestions: antlions and mantises. And things like that, which are all very cool creatures in their own respect. I mean, I personally like mantis just because of the way they look. I mean, there's a whole kung fu system named after them. That's how cool they are.
Mm-hmm. Matt's looking at the problem at the moment.
Both the enemies that do not directly attack you but compete with you for food. There's going to be plenty of that, actually, Seraphine. I know you've probably not had the chance to look through the other streams, but John... one of the things that can spawn in pre-play mode are large food sources like dead fish, and that will encourage or rather create stray ants that will come along and come and compete with you. So that's something that's already there. But you're right. There's certainly the possibility for other insects and mini bees to come along and compete but not represent an existential threat to the colony. Mako can't wait for Freeplay. Nor can we, but we have to.
Yes.
We've got to make it. But yeah, we want to play it as well. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll happily sink hours into it. I can imagine. I'm not a home invader. Exactly what I would expect a home invader to say. Says. It's all right. I've already been accepted by the natives, so even if I was, I've already got away with it. What's behind the name Slug Disco? A couple of different answers to that. Have you got a moment to answer that one, John? Or
There's more than one story.
yes, there is.
I swear it's one thing. Liam swears it's another. Yeah. It was when we were well. I swear it comes from when we were at uni, and someone in our house wanted to go out for the night, but we couldn't be bothered, and we were all in sleeping bags, and we said we're already out on the town. We're having a slug disco, and that's where I swear it comes from.
The weird offhand comment that you make to your friends.
Yeah. To try and get them to go away and.
I like that origin story. It's a good one. Seraphine suggests trapdoor spiders. I imagine they work fairly similarly to the funnel webs, but you probably wouldn't know they're there before you actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I do like that suggestion.
Right, I'm gonna carry on with something else whilst Matt looks into this.
Yeah, okay, so John's going to carry on with another. Yep. Yep. Yeah, John's going to carry on with something else while Matt is looking into the issues he was having with trying to get the day for a night cycle working on the surface.
Do you want to bring up a conversation with him so I can close on here? Slack.
Slack?
Yeah, open Slack and say.
What am I doing?
Just speak to Dodo.
Ah, I see what you mean. So I relay the information to you. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Right, we got there.
We got through it.
Right, okay. Bunch of more questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue work on because I can't get to the surface at the moment. Or maybe I can. Maybe the hotkey will work. Should we try that?
We're about to find out. Are you guys ant keepers? Did you create this game because you can't keep ants for some reason? We're all nature fans. We love nature documentaries. Since a very young age, Matt in particular has loved nature. None of us keep ants, funnily enough. Matt has kept other things like tarantulas. But me,
I can get to the surface.
John
I can tab there.
John can tab into the surface.
Unfortunately, the mini map's not working. There's been a few internal changes going on yesterday. It's as we prepare to allow the player to start in different locations, so in different underground nests. So allowing the player to be player 1, player 0, player 1, or player 2.
Have you got a save file? Matt is asking for, John, by the way, that you can have a look at.
Save? There's no save file for Freeplay.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
People watching, yet. There will be. Okay,
if he wants to set up a game, though, just do it through the main menu.
Okay. Right, carry on, John. I'm just going to answer because we've had a flurry of questions. I'll answer them. Just carry on and ignore me speaking if you can. Thought a bit about how Mantis could be implemented again, but haven't really found a way. They would have to be stealthy and able to launch a surprise attack. Yeah, that kind of thing. Remember, when you're making a game, you want to keep the mechanics relatively simple so they're easy to understand. Yeah, Seraphine, of course, is an ant keeper. He posts regularly updates on his many colonies on our forums, which is always a joy to read. I'm going to call camping slug disco from now on. Camping is now a slug disco. Yeah, I like it. Thank you, Liquid Putin. How will free play mode work? Will we get a huge tile map and colonise each tile? Well, the way it's going to work, it'll be similar-ish to the current setup, in that you'll have an underground and an overground. The overground's a large map, but we can't get much larger than the largest of the campaign maps anyway, because we are reaching kind of technical limits for now. We might be able to push that a bit in the future, but there are technical limits to it. The way it works is basically you'll start. Everything is a bit slower pace, so your ants will take longer to dig. Ways will come at you slower, if at all, because you'll be able to set these things on the launch of the free play game. The maps themselves, the layout and kind of texturing of the map won't be random. However, there are points on the map where random things can appear, and that'll be different every time you launch the game, and perhaps even during the game they may change. Hasn't been quite decided yet. And there's not exactly an objective because it's free play. It's survive until you die for as long as you can, basically. But if you wanted to play a peaceful mode, that will be an option where nothing ever invades your nest, and it will go on forever. So you could just, and it's savable, of course. So you'll be able to just jump in, play for an hour, save it, and go about your day. How do you feel about?
There's a set time and a fade to time in the manager. Right, so this must be how it works. Okay. Okay. I need to look at these functions that are available. Oh, it's not a function, it's a... Okay, it's an event. So there is a set time, there's a fade to time. That's the maths of the thing. Okay, so it looks like there's a couple of ways I can do it. I'm assuming what fade to time will do is fade from this first time to the second time. Why is there two durations? There's two fades. Right. Well, we'll try playing about with these. So there's set time and fade to time. I'm assuming that's all that's being done each time. Fade to time. Maybe the fade to time appears to be the only thing that's actually used. Okay, let's give that a go. That gives us something to play around with. In our map. Any word from Matt?
Not at the moment. I imagine he's booted up and is looking into it. Okay, Thomas the Tank Killer, nice name. Hey guys, how do you feel about your ant colony having to face up against a termite mound? I wonder. Don't know if it'll be a mound. There are more than one kind of termite. In fact, there is going to be you can see the species of termite which is going to be in the game. It was a stretch goal for our Kickstarter. I will look up exactly what the Latin name is for it, the scientific name for it, and I'll type it in chat shortly once I've got through your guys' questions. Seraphine, yep, talking about his ants, of which he has many. Halloween, Halloween should have a mode where the fungal zombie ants come to invade you. You're talking about cordyceps fungus there. We could do maybe something for Halloween. I don't know, whatever.
I'm sure at some point we'll visit cordyceps. I don't know when though. It might not be before full release.
Too cool of an idea not to do something with eventually though, because it is cool. But maybe there is actually a game that's already done cordyceps. The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. Will you play streaming it for us someday? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Mako. Will other ants face the same danger as your ants will? I imagine that when we add colonies to free play mode, they will be independently operating, and they'll be So yes, they'll be dealing with all the dangers that your ants do as well. Just want to say thanks for the incredible game. Been waiting like for a game like this for years. Thank you, Thai Toast or Tea Toast. Screw cordyceps. That is nightmare fuel. It totally is. It's really scary. Even watching a documentary about it's a bit creepy. Okay, good. I'm up to date with the questions.
Cool. Right. Okay, so we know the functions that we've got available to us. Right. Yeah. I know why that's come up. That's because Matt's editing the map, I would guess. Is this map checked in? One sec. Just making sure I've got stuff checked in for the others.
Shorohiga Hicken, waiting for some Steam sale. It's a bit soon for Steam sales. We've only been out for a few weeks, just about a month and a half. If we started putting sales out now, it would be, to be honest, totally unfair on the people that have, paid the current price for the game. I think we intend to do them eventually, but not for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in very early access at the moment. But we understand, if you guys want to wait for it to be cheaper, please do. That's the right attitude to have. Being a patient gamer often pays off.
Right, so I don't want to put anything on the map, basically, because Matt's fixing stuff with it. What am I doing? I want to reference the Day-Night Manager. To be fair, it's going to be the Freeplay manager, the Freeplay director that does it. So what I will do is I will create something in the Freeplay director that will allow the Freeplay director to talk to the Day-Night Manager.
Yes, Serafine, you're totally right. There was a really cool ant documentary recently, which we think was it was certainly about Formica species, probably Formica rufa or similar. They didn't say in the program, but we watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it because it was relevant to us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, Shiro. We're if you can't pay for it, then you don't have to yet. Wait for it to be cheaper. We totally get that.
Okay, so I should now be able to, yeah, there we are, link the Day-Night Manager, and then we can start talking to it from inside the Freeplay director. Okay, again, for now, I'm just going to do this with numpads. Yeah, just with key presses. So I'm just going to verify that it is actually picking up the key presses before I go any further. So it should tell me hello if I press numpad 0. Once the game runs. Any minute now. It's not. I need to turn on. You can receive events. I'll just shove it in the. I'm just going to shove it in the level blueprint for now and not save it because this is just running tests anyway. once we got the tests right, we can just move them into the other one, into the Freeplay manager. Okay, so what was the function called? It was called fade to time. Right. So if for example, fade from midnight to midday over the course of, I'm assuming this is just seconds, 10 seconds. So let's give that a go.
Welcome, Claudia. Yeah, sorry, fine. It was fascinating, and it's amazing that there's so much still to learn about ants, because that one super colony, which was, they don't fight each other despite being kilometers sized colony. It was incredible. Really enjoyed it. I've watched it several times actually. Oh, night falls.
Okay, so that actually faded from midday to midnight, didn't it? What happens if I press it again?
Midnight to midday. Oh, no, a full
It's doing
cycle.
a full rotation.
And it stops.
Oops, spider.
Hi, Ace 5400. Thanks, Claudia, for thinking the game's cool. It is.
Okay, so what we probably want is we probably want to set the time to start with. So in the Freeplay director. Now the time is actually set from here, from the level setup, and it's time of day here. So the starting time is set here. Okay, so I'll add this to the list of things to run at the beginning. So we want to...
Low IQ says, not sure where it fits game-wise, but it's a nice, effective and immersive. I think talking about the day-night cycle. It's more than that. I think we can change the creatures that spawn during the night.
That's the idea.
Yeah, so it is a bit more than just a nice cosmetic and immersive thing.
Yeah, the one of the options in the Freeplay setup is nocturnal and diurnal, so allowing you to decide whether the creatures will obey what they do in nature. So the nocturnal creatures will be nocturnal. If they're out in all times of day, though, they obviously will come out anytime anyway.
Are we going to include the crabs in this?
Yep.
Yep, and they'll be nighttime creatures, presumably, I'd have thought. Yeah.
I think so. Although I think hermit crabs might be both.
I think they are both.
Okay. So
most kind of mini creatures are quite active at night, actually.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an increase at night. So when the sun goes down.
Low IQ is suggesting vampires then come out at night. Sure.
There's a type of vampiric ant actually.
There's one called the Dracula ant.
Yeah, that's what they're nicknamed.
Which has a really gross kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's the adults can't actually eat solid food, so what they do is they feed their larvae the food. The larva can chew it and eat it, and then the ants have to tap into the larva literally by chewing through their skin and drinking their hemolymph, and that makes them, the hemolymph is kind of the ant, insect blood, so that makes them kind of vampiric ants on their own young, which is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what we probably want is... I mean, what I really want is just for the timer to be constantly going during this mode.
Yeah, wow, nature is inverted commas beautiful, says Low IQ. Nature is just what works. I mean, the more we learn about species, it kind of flies in the face of the Victorian, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. If it works, it stays around, even if it's brutal and gross and unfair, as nature often is. But fascinating, always fascinating.
Okay, so... wonder if I can just have a clock that just sets the time. Maybe I do want it fading. Just out of interest. If I have just on the tick. Okay, so this tick fires every time there's a frame in the game, and delta seconds is the amount of time that's changed since the last frame. Now what we want to do is we want to turn this value. So how long, for example, would you want a complete day-night cycle to be in a game?
Let's choose probably the most famous example, which is Minecraft, where a day and a night lasts 7 minutes each. So
right.
for 14 minutes all told.
Is that going to be enough for this game? Like,
maybe not.
I feel half an hour for the complete cycle is.
Since it's going to be a slower paced game than Minecraft.
Yeah.
This game mode is. Yeah. So 15 minutes aside.
Yeah. Do that for now.
Like a game of five-a-side football. 15 minutes aside.
Where's my calculator gone? Calculator! Calculator!
I think I saw a calculator over there the other day. Under that pad?
Watch it don't break the light bulb again. Okay. Yeah, calculator. I've got a lamp very precariously balanced on top of a book.
Claudia says Minecraft, yay. I don't think it should surprise you that we've played probably the most popular computer game ever created. Satellite Nest would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff would be great. But you know, it's a bit beyond the remit of this game. You know, creating new nests and reproduction and such like.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah. Not to disparage other game creators, but we don't want to create a, say, Spore or No Man's Sky scenario where we promise way too much.
Yeah.
And then just disappoint. We don't want to disappoint, so we're going to be realistic with what we can do, basically, for you guys.
Okay, so I'm just going to create a variable which is just going to be current time. Current Tim. Okay, and at the point that the time gets set at the beginning, this is going to get set as well.
Low IQ says you should make it through at least one full cycle per match, or per game, I assume you mean here. I imagine you'll do many.
Yeah.
You know, lots of nights. Yeah.
More than that.
Plenty of them.
Well, actually, I probably don't need to set the time here if I'm going to be setting it in the tick. But I don't know how demanding setting the time of day is. Probably not that bad actually. I don't want this to be causing slowdown.
Very Scary says, I have seen one screenshot in the Steam game where had hermit crabs. How are we going to interact with them? They're already in the game. Hermit crabs are an enemy in a couple of levels. In the second tier of levels, they're aggressive. In our game, they are probably less so in nature. But they have they're very tanky. They have a system whereby they can do a small amount of damage, but they've got high health, and also they can hide inside their shells and regenerate health while they're doing that. So that makes them quite tough to take down.
Okay, so current time. Plus some fraction of the change in time. Right, so in order to make the fraction of the change in time correct,
but they are in the water. That's not I want to know. Lots of crabs don't go in the water. Our hermit crabs are on the beach. Some of them do both, but there are several species of crab that will drown. They need to kind of drink salt water, but they can't swim. For instance, coconut crabs, the largest crabs in the world, can't swim.
Right, so cycle time's gonna equal.
Evocracy suggests how we go with the game, John. You have 100 queens drop from a plane and then duke it out for a chicken carcass. Funnily enough, believe it or not, PUBG also uses the Unreal 4 engine.
Yeah, it does actually.
So I like that. Nice.
Okay, so cycle time's just going to be added to. Now, cycle time, if it's greater than 1,800, which is the amount of seconds in half an hour, then it needs to be reset.
Evocracy says simple mod then. So confirmed. You guys.
So if cycle time is greater than I'm just going to type hard code it in for now. It might turn into a variable eventually, so it's variable how long the. So if that's greater than 18,000. Cycle time equals 0. Okay, now we need to find the fraction of the that cycle time is through the complete cycle, and then apply that to a time of day. So the fraction is cycle time. It's 18,000 divided by cycle time. Or is it the way around? It's the way around. Cycle time divided by 18,000.
Pay attention in maths, kids.
Not 18,000, 1,800. Right. Okay, so that will give a fraction between 0 and 1. So that'll give us a value between 0 and 1. What I want now is for 1 to be 24 and 0 to be 0. That makes sense.
I'm with you.
Okay, so current time. So basically multiply that by 24 and we get our time of day. Okay, so this produces a value between 0 and 1. At 1 times 24 is 24. At 0 times 24 is 0. Any other fraction, 0.5 times 24 is 12. So that's midday. So there. Nah.
I'm just going to do an Attenborough for Tythus's comment in here, John. Here we can see the dev team break their brains and their game. Okay. Ace 5400 says, I know it sounds crazy, but is there a way to implement fungus grower ants like Atta Texana into the game? In my mind, it would be similar to how you harvest aphids in the last level there. Funny you should mention that, Ace 5400. The next species of ant we add to the game will be Atacephalotes, a leaf cutter. And yes, there will be harvesting and fungus growing mechanics. We're getting it planned out. Those levels are going to be the next into the game, and that will be the next species.
The only issue with what I've done now is that cycle time's initial time is not set properly, because that will go back to 0 no matter what.
Path to Equilibrium says, yo, Sluggy Disco. Yo, Pathy Equilibrium.
So the issue here is going to be... Have I set... Yeah, I've set current time. Okay, so the issue here is going to be it's always going to start from 0 no matter what I have the start time set to. So we'll deal with that in a minute after I verify that this is actually ticking. Unfortunately, this is going to take half an hour to tick through the whole cycle, so... I hope you're up for watching the sun slowly rise and set.
Right, so me and John are going to go for some dinner. We're not.
I'll speed the cycle up in a minute. Like I said, I should actually have it on a variable rather than... Okay, so that's midnight. Are the shadows growing? I can't tell.
If this is half an hour cycle, it's going to be really tough to tell just looking at it like that.
Okay, I'll speed it up.
Yeah.
Okay, right, so I'm gonna turn that into a variable instead of just hard coding it. So I have a variable on here. Call it full cycle time. Have that set to as default. 1,800. We should just be able to plonk that into those two areas and then actually change that to 1 minute, and therefore we should see things change over the course of 1 minute.
Major Irritation says, just popped it to say I love your game and have streamed it a few times. Please keep up the great work. Thanks, Major Irritation. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Yeah, streamers and YouTubers are the lifeblood of the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
They are. So, yeah, you guys help us out hugely, so thank you so much. Low IQ says, maybe I'm being slow here, but when you mentioned increased activity during the day, are we thinking movement bonuses or things depending on species types? No, I think more creatures and such
more enemies. What?
Yeah, the kind of spawn rate increase.
Yeah,
is what we mean by that.
I mean, we could do like in the middle of the day when the sun's at its highest, like activity calms down. That sort of
yes, thing. Yeah, particularly on this level, which you call in the dunes. So it's gonna it's an arid kind of area near a sea. So during the day it's gonna be warm.
So the complete cycle now should take 1 minute. And it should just keep going.
In the levels as they stand, it's based on events, isn't it? That happens.
Yeah. Specific points.
Yeah. But of course, for free play mode, we want it to just be continuous and constant.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way the shadows lengthen. It's amazing. Matt spent a lot of time clearly working on still being able to see things when it's dark. And
Mm-hmm. I want my mini map back. Is it still going?
Typhus wants us to go to dinner, but take the camera with us. So yeah. We're going to be one of those people that do social eating streams, because it does happen. This was not
going.
streaming was created for. Yeah, so it's working.
Yeah. Okay,
GG.
We've got a hermit crab.
We have a hermit crab.
Okay, so we've got a day-night cycle going. So that's the next thing I wanted to do was be able to select what time of day it starts at.
Or stays at.
Or stays at if you put it on constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, Purdy, says Tythus. I think the dawn and dusk parts of the day are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Playing this game, the way the sun strikes the textures on the surfaces is amazing. Well done, Matt.
Yeah, properly shows off the bump map.
Yeah, the bump maps, which are a way of calculating how light strikes a surface.
Mm-hmm.
Here it comes again. Beautiful. Properly amazed the first time I saw that, because I wasn't expecting it to be that good. Not that I didn't have faith in these guys.
It's a double spider. That looks weird. It looks like an ant spider. It's just two spiders. But
What it looks like, John, is a nightmare I once had.
Oh, what's going to happen?
I think the adults will win there. The Devil's Coach.
Yeah,
Ooh, although there was some good venom damage going on there.
Yeah, I thought the Devil's Coach horse would win that. Anyway,
Enough admiring it.
Okay, so I need to do the time of day starting and ending. I need to set the cycle time correctly, as it's that actually determines the whole thing. In fact, setting the current time makes no sense at all. So I get cycle time. No, it's set cycle time. Cycle time needs to be... full cycle time.
You're letting enemies fight each other in free play. Totally. Yeah, it's going to be more of an ecosystem. We have to think about balance during the individual missions, but for free play, we could be a bit more realistic with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally. Creatures will be fighting each other.
We're gonna, as part of it, I want to give each creature a list of things they won't attack, and that'll only apply in free play. But basically, it'll stop things like the funnel webs being slaughtered by the beach wolf spiders.
I think
constantly.
Yesterday or the day before, we were wondering why we didn't see any woodworm.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're so weak; they just get killed as soon as they spawn. Everything else was killing them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but some things won't kill other things. There'll be a hierarchy of it, so that everything gets the chance to be seen. Really.
To live, I want to live. Okay, so full cycle time divide. Okay, so in the morning, the full cycle time. Actually, cycle time. That's 6, so that's a quarter through the day. So that's time. So I'll do it multiplied by, because it's easier for me to do. Float multiplied by float. So that's a quarter through the day, so that's 0.25. Actually, current time doesn't need to be set at all because cycle time sets current time. So let's just paste this 4 times. Any word from Matt?
Hang on a second.
So you got the mini map working.
Nothing yet. Should be still on it.
Must be a bit tricky.
Yeah.
So there's been some internal changes, which is going to allow us to spawn in multiple locations on the surface. Well, not on the surface. Multiple different undergrounds on this map. So you're not sure which underground you're going to start in. It's the idea.
Yeah. This game mode is going to have one of 4 possible starting locations. I think that's right.
Yeah, certainly this map. I think
This
other
map, yeah.
maps could have more than that,
Or less.
or less.
Am I right in thinking? Correct me if I'm wrong, John. Those other undergrounds may be eventually occupied by enemy colonies.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
Like I say, the free play mode's going to be done in
Stages.
yeah.
Not to begin with, basically, but that's
Yeah.
the plan eventually.
Yeah, so the first iterations, the first iteration is just going to have your colony and things on the surface, so other creatures, these landmarks that we're putting in. But the next iteration, the second major iteration of it will have enemy colonies as well. Liam's still working on the AI for the enemy colonies, so.
And it is going to be a proper skirmish AI that, responds and...
It should be, yeah.
Well, obviously there's an element of scripting with that at all. There's no point in making something that's truly intelligent. Just has to react, seem intelligent. Yeah. Mako says the game's truly good.
Truly good.
Yeah, we've been going for falsely good.
So if we achieve truly good, that's quite incredible.
Then yes.
Okay, so what? That was midday, wasn't it? That I plugged them all into then, just to test it. So I wasn't thinking what I was testing.
Me again, sorry.
So it should be midday when we start. Yeah, in a minute now.
And there we are.
So that,
Yeah.
midday. Cool. Okay, so that works. So we've got the time ticking. I suppose we could actually have the day-night cycle timer as an option, like the length of the day-night cycle.
I don't see any reason why not.
Maybe that's something we should add in.
Probably not let people set it to stupid low. But yeah. But if they wanted to have it an hour long or 24 hours long.
Now you've suggested it, I've got to try it.
Yeah.
Stupid low. So rather than 60 seconds, how about 6 seconds?
It would be like a time lapse scene in a film, that tries to make things. Arena, what have I missed? Claudia, the arena map is going to be just a testing bed that people can spawn things in from and see how 2 armies react. It's not an entire game mode.
Mm-hmm.
Cool thing about this is once the first free play map is done, most of the code can be just copied over into a new map, making it way faster. You're correct. In fact, one of John's points in making... That's ace. That worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you're entirely right, Ace 5400. You're totally right. John's one of John's main things in setting up free play mode is that it is map agnostic, as in the work John's doing is not just set for this map. John can make a new map with a new setup, new textures, and just pretty much play it. Mm-hmm. That's the idea. So yeah, once it's not free play mode will start with this just one map, but there's going to be more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. Yes. Yeah. Good call, Ace 5400. You are correct.
Right. Okay. Next thing. Right. Do we start to think about the nocturnal creatures? I probably need to come up with We probably need to do some research in that and come up with a grid of which ones would.
Well, to be honest, the main nocturnal one is the wolf spider. So that one certainly needs to spawn at night. And also, yeah, your pack sizes need to be 1.
Yeah, the wolf spider pack sizes do need to be 1.
Yeah, they are solitary creatures after all.
And they look daft when
they're all running around as a cabal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want the.
You could use Steam Workshop to let other people create free play maps. The problem with that, Ace, is we'd have to create a level editor then, which would be a huge sink of resources. Not saying it won't happen.
Just don't expect it.
But yeah, it's not on the plan list at the moment. But it might happen. John's current level editor is not at all meant for general consumption.
It's totally true that that maps with mod capability, or games with mod capability, have a much longer life cycle. People play them for a lot longer because the community keeps creating content and things keep going. So we recognise it as a good idea, and it's sensible business model, but it's obviously we can't promise too much. As with everything, we don't want to promise.
Yeah, we're not in the business of making huge promises in the hope that you'll just throw money at us. We're being realistic about what we can deliver, but there's no reason why we can't do that. Maybe one day, but no promises. Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to add some comments around this stuff. So this is set. Setting the initial time of day. What's this? This is setting landmarks. That's landmarks. Okay.
eDevil666 about rebuilding again. It causes issues, does rebuilding. It's not planned at the moment, and there are pitfalls we could fall into in trying to do rebuilding, and there are very good reasons we haven't done it. The first most obvious one is we don't want people surrounding their queen or just making a maze which unbalances levels. But deeper than that, it causes real issues with pathing sometimes. If you could block off an area, for instance. I think you said this, didn't you, John?
Yeah.
It would cause real issues.
Our underground's not currently set up to deal with. I mean, areas. We've got the reason why creatures don't move around underground when you haven't dug out to them is because they don't exist yet. Those underground like caverns and that don't actually exist until you dig them out, and then the game creates them. And so the underground's not set up to have like an area that you could block off. I'm sure there's ways around it and things we could do, but it's like it take a long time to think about, and it's not the highest priority.
Yeah. Again, as with most questions like that are answered, maybe, but other things before we start thinking about new things. Thanks for Claudia for saying we're amazing. We had a guy the other day saying we were awesome. So we're both of those things now.
Wow. We're gathering compliments.
Wizzy, it's actually Unreal 4, not Unreal 3. Will you be working on leaf cutters after the Freeplay and Arena? We don't really want to stream the development of the leaf cutters.
Yeah.
We don't want to spoil it for you guys. That's the point. That's why. That's why Freeplay is perfect for streaming. It doesn't spoil anything. It's using existing assets, and John's coming up with on the fly ways to make it cool and fun and interesting, and involving you guys in it is the point. We're reading it all the feedback and all the ideas, and we're incorporating them when we can, and if we think they're good. So that's the point. But leaf cutters. We'll tease them here and there, won't we? We'll certainly.
Yeah. On our social media and whatnot.
Yeah.
As we get closer to the point that we release it, we'll certainly tease like the models and the.
Yeah. but the dev stream would be out of the question, I think, for them.
Yeah. I mean, once the storyline's been released for them, and whilst we're adding them into Freeplay mode, certainly.
Will you guys be working on the leaf cutters after Freeplay and Arena, concurrently?
Yeah. There's I'm not the only dev, but I am the only dev working on Freeplay mode.
Yeah. Freeplay is John's baby. There's also Liam and Matt there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Matt will help me prettify the map. Once we get to that stage. But yeah. The other devs, Liam does the scripting and that for the new part because we'll need more voice acting recorded and all that, and we also need the levels designed. I'll probably be doing the first pass of the level design, but Liam does a pass of it as well. It tends to go back and forth between us until we perfect them.
Ace 5400 says, "Why are you using Unreal Engine to make a realistic game?" There's a drum kit right next to me, but John can't quite reach it to do a dudum-ch. Thank you, E-Devil, for getting there before me.
Okay.
How many percent of the entire game is completed right now? Oh, blimey.
Okay, can't say that.
A goodly amount is the answer. Okay, I'm just going to turn this to me for a short amount of time. Okay, let's a good time to answer questions as well. John's just momentarily occupied. A goodly amount of the game is done. It'll go on to be a large amount, and then an almost done amount, and then a done amount of the game. That's really a one that's kind of impossible to quantify. Okay. Let's have a look. Everyone watching is probably amazing for supporting this amazing product and team. Thank you, Liquid Putin. Yes. We are nothing without you guys. Nothing at all. In fact, the support from you guys has meant that John is soon to be the second full-time developer of Empires of the Undergrowth. Once he's worked the notice at his current job, he will be. Only Matt has been full-time up until now because that's all that our crowdfunding allowed for. It's quite expensive to keep a person alive, believe it or not. But thanks to the success of the launch on Steam, you guys have allowed John to go full-time on the project. And that means that once that happens, not straight away, he's still got a few months to work on his current job. He can't just leave. Once that happens, the game will naturally, the progress will naturally accelerate because he'll be working, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day on the project, as opposed to just the 2 that he's currently doing. Yeah, and that's all down to you guys. Do you have any plans for making ants drink water? Probably not. It's. I mean, that's something that would probably be. If we were doing a more extensive simulation kind of game, that kind of makes sense. But it's probably just not really needed in a game like this, which is primarily a real-time strategy where you want to keep things pretty straightforward and don't want to overcomplicate things. You want to make it accessible and easily understandable for the most part. And things like having the ants drink water would be something that would have to distract them from doing things like fighting enemies and collecting food. So probably not. Mako says we expect lots of new stuff. Quite rightly too. You deserve it. We've promised it. You're going to get it. We just have to make it. Yeah. The home invader is back. Liquid Putin. Right. What do you, Thomas the Tank Killer? What do you guys think about major and super major ants? Would be very visual difference like Mesobarbarus. Super majors probably not, because there'd be just such a huge difference in size and then that likely cause issues with our pathing systems and even the tiles that the ants hatch from. It'd be a bit weird to see a giant ant hatch from there's something that's half its size. But mages certainly. The leaf cutters will have mages. They'll have several casts actually in our game, and the mages of those will be big. They'll have big heads, and will be high damage, high health, big stuff.
Yeah.
Johnny's back.
Right. Okay. So, the day-night cycle wasn't nearly as difficult to set up as I thought it was going to be. So we need to make a decision on what we do next. Now, the games I could look at like nocturnal creatures, for example, but I think I want to actually make some decisions on that before I go ahead and start implementing anything. However, there's more to think about with the spawning of creatures as well, because they need to be brought into the difficulty. Now, the way difficulty is going to work on Freeplay is there'll be a percentage of difficulty, like it's from 0 to 100%, and that will change as the game goes on. So rather than it being a set difficulty, that difficulty will change, and that will change how many creatures are spawning, how aggressive those creatures are, how difficult it is to get food, and there's all manner of things that this like difficulty value will change, and it will. So, if we have I could do the difficulty now. Could start looking at difficulty.
Before you do that, John, it might be worth just because we only showed it the once at the start of the stream on Monday. Show people the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want anything, by the way?
No, okay, thanks. Actually, maybe just some fizzy water.
Fizzy water? Yeah.
So, yeah, the menu. Have a quick look. Levels. Right. So those of you that have played the game will, a lot of you will know where the free play button is. And a couple of other things to note about free play, and it's part of my design philosophy from the beginning of it, is it has to be savable. So you have to be able to save a game part way through, and the game pace should be slower than the normal game. So I'm expecting longer games at free play. But yeah, so from the menu in other modes is free play. So like former character, you've got the option to set up a free play colony. So we'll set up a new one. Give it some name. Okay, so species wise, you've got black ants and wood ants. They're already in the game, but you've also got these are the your Formicarium species, and you'll be able to choose one of your Formicarium species. That doesn't mean your Formicarium colony will be transplanted into it. What it means is that the upgrades that you've unlocked in that Formicarium will be available for your colony in the free play mode. So I'm going to go with black ant for now. So that's map. At the minute, there's only the one because we're still setting it up. Setup is basically what setup will do. It doesn't do anything yet, but what it will do is it will change the other settings to pre-setups. And if you change anything else, it will change back to custom setup. So difficulty type. So I was talking about this a while ago. So like I say, the difficulty's got a percentage value and it changes as the game goes on based on what type of difficulty you've got set up. So if you have it set to constant, that means the difficulty will remain at the value you set it at originally. So the rate of creature spawning won't increase dramatically. The difficulty of harvesting food on the surface won't get too difficult. Well, it won't get harder than what you set it to. So that's constant. Ramp means as time goes on, the game slowly gets more and more difficult. So it starts at whatever difficulty you have it set to start with, and then slowly goes up towards maximum, and eventually it'll hit a peak. Spikes is is a fairly constant difficulty, but every now and again there's a massive jump in difficulty where things will get difficult for a bit, and then it will go back to where it was, and then get difficult again. Ramp with spikes, the game will slowly get more difficult, but every now and again it will get seriously more difficult before coming back down again, and then slowly get more difficult again. And then the scale with colony, which is as your colony grows, the difficulty grows. So once you've got a massive colony, the game becomes massively difficult. That with that setting, you should always find it a bit challenging. I think by default I wanted ramp with spikes, so it will slowly get more difficult with some seriously difficult chunks in it. A few more options, so you can turn off and on various creatures. So these are all the creatures that are currently in the game, and you can select whether you want them to be able to spawn or not. Landmarks, this is what we've been working on mostly this week. And these are areas of the surface that will have like food in them, but they will also have stuff guarding them or whatnot. So Spider's web is like a funnel web spider, where there'll be a lot of food in there in his web if you can kill the web owner. Seed plant is just a plant that's dropping seeds. So maybe it'll be a poppy, and poppy seeds will be dropping. But that'll also attract enemies. I haven't done seed plant yet. We did spider's web, we did aphid farm, we've done dead fish. Aphid farm's like it is in the game. Dead fish is a dead fish, but it also causes wood ants to come and harvest it. So there's a constant trickle of wood ants harvesting it that you've got to fight back if you want to harvest the fish. An infestation is just going to be an area that's got a lot of enemy creatures in it. Here's the day-night cycle setting. Actually, I should do the options to turn that on and off next, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they're the other settings. So we'll put in day-night cycle, being able to switch it on and off next, because at the minute it's just running. Uber creatures is something I'll do towards the end. It's just going to be super forms of like beach tiger beetles and that are really difficult to kill. Uber creatures. Okay, so they're the options that will be in the initial setup. Like I say, I want this game mode to keep evolving, so as time goes on, more options will become available. So I'm not going to start another one. I've already got one set up.
It's 5400 asks, do you plan to add a replete like from honeypots?
I believe we are honeypots are in the plan. Exactly how they work is not fully fleshed out yet, so we'll see.
E-Devil with more thoughts about rebuilding. How about limiting rebuilding to areas that have no more than one excavated tile next to it? It's probably a bit more complex than that. We've thought about it a lot, and we haven't really found a solution that works for us yet.
I say it's totally possible. It's just where we're prioritising. I mean, we thought of having it so it does a check from every neighbouring tile, and if each neighbouring tile can path to the queen once that had been built, then it would allow it. And that's possible. Not quite sure how you'd implement it, because you basically have to put an obstruction in the way for it to do a test. But I'm sure there's a way of doing it. Again, it's possible, but it's just a bit tricky to think about, and it's not highest priority at the moment.
Yeah, Thomas the Tank Killer says, would it be hard to have different weather in the game? It would need a lot of resources to do a system like that.
Well, it's graphically
Graphically, it would be, yeah.
possible. Yeah, it's possible graphically, but looking at how that would impact gameplay, I think it's something I'd like to do, certainly, but I'm not. At the moment, it's not in there. Maybe in some of the next Former Carrion missions, it'll become necessary. I don't know.
I think the thing is with Freeplay mode that you're doing right now, it's using assets that are already there, rather than making new things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the current reason that it's not an option in Freeplay. You're right. It would be a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so looking at these, right? Okay, so setting the initial time of day, I didn't bother actually setting it here, but now I think I'm going to, just because I don't want to be constantly doing that other calculation if you've turned daytime off. So I am actually going to, at this point, set the... Oh, God, what does that done? Don't want to do that. I have no idea what that was. Okay. So it sets cycle time there. It needs to set current time as well. So there we go. So that's actually setting the time of day now. And now I can just do a check. Well, I'll add something in here.
Welcome, Thomas2904. Stifling a sneeze now.
I'll just do a check for enable day-night cycle. There we are. I'm just gonna have a variable sitting in here, which I'm gonna use just for the sake of quick access to it. Okay, and then in here, I'm just going to have if day-night is on, then it does this, else it doesn't bother. Okay, so that should stay at a certain time of day if you haven't turned on day and night cycle. Okay.
Thomas2904 has come to us by watching Baron Bond Let's Play.
Oh, excellent.
We like Baron.
Yeah.
He chats to us a lot.
Streamers. Yeah, we chat to him.
Yeah, he's very communicative, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do we want to take on next? we could go back to looking at the landmarks. I say I don't want to, or I could look at difficulty.
John, stop just achieving these things so quickly.
But to be fair, a lot of what I've done is going to require another pass over it because I've just done them sort of quickly. Certainly the landmarks, I think they'll all need another look at to make them more interesting and fairer as well. I mean, the spider's web for one, for example, at the minute all we've done is put one funnel web in. I want one funnel web's nothing. Walk over one funnel web. In fact, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should go back to the funnel webs.
You could, if you want to do something a bit visual with the funnel webs, you could start having a look at, adding rocks and plants around them to.
Yeah. So there's that. There's also the respawning of the funnel webs after a while. So yeah, we can go back to looking at that.
Apparently, Devil666 bought the game after watching Vintage Beef play it, and he bought the game while still watching his first episode.
Excellent.
And that's some interest in the concept if I ever saw it. Ants Canada got him interested in ant keeping. Then he saw Beef playing the game, so he had to get it.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so currently the funnel webs, they spawn their central point, then they I also need to think about when the web should despawn and how that's set up. I can't quite remember how it was set up.
My thought is it should despawn once they die, and then reappear when a new one does. As if another one's come and found the spot. And
yeah, maybe. Don't know manager for now. Anyway, let's put some scenery in. So, from the scenery that we've already got, there's a log, there's some stones. Maybe a few stones. I'd like to put something over the top of it to make it look more like a cave. Maybe with the fading log effect, that because we haven't used that very often. Maybe we should use that on a few more things. But anyway, let's have a look at what assets we've got. Log scenery. Oh right, yeah, that's rotting log. Beach scenery. Okay. So there's I believe that's that massive piece of driftwood that's on the. It's on the surface in 2.1. But it hasn't got its texture on it. There's loads of grass. And gravel. Oh, gravel's it's just like little stones, isn't it? Ice plants. Could use an ice plant. It's quite big though. It's that's why we tend to have used the ice plants on the edge of the map just because they're so big. It'd be difficult to see around.
Do you scale them down?
You could do. I think stones are probably the way to go, to be honest.
Stones, and then you could put you decorate them with a few grass stems and such like.
Yeah. I could do with a bit of wood, but I think that piece of driftwood's too big.
Huge.
Beach pebble 3. We had some issues with these as well, in that ants could get stuck at the edge of them, if you remember, when they're in the formicarium.
That's right.
I can't remember how we solved it.
Autosave, John.
No! Not going to be able to save the map anyway. I'll start with some pebbles anyway. Are these all static meshes? That's a foliage type. I'd rather put on a static mesh. Well, what I'd rather actually do is an actor. Well, then maybe I should do random pebble. Make a random pebble actor. That might be worth doing actually. Like I did with the rosemary. Although these, I believe these will be blocking. These will be movement blocking.
Yeah, so you want these to... Well, you were talking yesterday, weren't you, about making sure things can't get around the back just to enter...
Yeah, but I put those in the middle now. But I don't know if I want them to stay that way. It's just loads of questions about how they should work. Well, a good chunk of development is just getting your head around what it should do. I mean, you come up with design documents, but when you come to actually implement something, you realise how much you missed in the design.
Yep.
You have to make some executive decisions on them.
Thankfully, you earn 1/3 of the company, so you can make decisions.
Right. So just add it in here. Right. So the edge of the spider's web is 600. So we need to we need to get a vector that's 600 long, and then place the pebbles. To place pebbles around the edge, we need to shove them in at that point. So. So a vector that's 600 long. Rotate it. Again, it's around the yaw. We want to rotate it, so we don't care about rotating it around anything else. Okay, so that's a random rotation around the yaw. I wanted to create an actor which basically made a random pebble from the options that we've got. So I'll do that inside landmarks, because all of this is landmark stuff. So, auto-size web, auto-size rosemary. I'll call this auto-size pebble, just to be consistent. going to have a static mesh, but what that static mesh is going to change. I'm also going to do some random rotation and scaling of it. Inside here. So what I'll do is I'll make the static mesh one of the pebbles. So there appears to be 3 of them. Okay. It's quite big. I guess we'll see. And then in begin play, what I'll do so we've got 3 pebbles, so random integer.
Finally, something I can comment on. Mako asked, will you add Easter eggs? They take time to do.
What do you mean for Easter? Chocolate?
Maybe even literally for Easter. I guess you can kind of count the hats that we added as a kind of Easter egg, although they were just there.
Sort of.
Sure,
I know.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Depends when one of us gets the drive to.
Yeah, all it takes is one person to be bored on a day off and spend 3 hours just adding something in and not telling anyone. That's all it takes.
I bet there's some in there already that I don't know about.
Well, Liam wouldn't tell us, would he?
Yeah. In the old main menu, the camera had some really weird text written on it. Because like there was a camcorder in the old main menu, like for the demo.
I went full on conspiracy there. This was before I was on the team. Yeah. So I took a screenshot and blew it up and saw what it said. Yeah. You wouldn't believe the horror that I read.
Okay, so
Ace 5400 now wants us to add a bottle of fizzy water. Because apparently me going and getting you a glass of fizzy water, John, is now a meme.
Okay, no, it won't be static. Set mesh, maybe. Mesh. Set static mesh. Okay, there we go. Okay, so and these are going to be pebble. So there's pebble 1, pebble 2, pebble 3. Okay, so all this is doing is randomizing the pebble between 3 options. But then more than that, we want to scale the pebble a bit. No.
Always like the beach pebbles, by the way. I like the layering you can see in them. Just made it that much more authentic for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the little rings of different sedimentary material.
Set world scale 3D. That's the one.
Yeah, guys, I'm having trouble kind of knowing what to say about what's going on in chat at the moment about being offended about certain things. I'm not going to say much really, but try not to be offended on anyone else's behalf. I think is the point, and I think we'll just leave it at that. If I see anyone who's saying anything that I think is out of line, I'll ban them. Simple as that.
Okay, so pebbles, not maybe. I don't know how big they actually are, but we can make a guess at the minute. Random floating range. So, and probably want it between 0.5 and maybe 1's good enough for the maximum. Okay, so that's just scaling it.
Thanks for coming along, Thomas the Tank Killer. Yeah, thanks for wishing us luck.
Thank you very much. We shall keep going.
Thomas, the other Thomas, 2904 asks, how long will until Freeplay mode comes out? John intends to get it out in a few weeks, maybe next month.
Yeah, I'm going to be trying for next month.
No promises, but soon it'll be the next kind of major update. Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do now is spawn actor from class. This is all me trying to come up with ways of making the level randomized. I need to come up with a way of saving all of this as well. Okay, so I'm just going to spawn one pebble for now. And we'll see where we get to there. I think that should do it. So what that should do is it's each spider web should now have one pebble on the edge of it of a random size. I think I probably want to do a random rotation as well, but one step at a time. Watch it crash now.
One step at a time. Oh, copyright strike.
What?
For me singing one line of a song. Yeah.
So I need to find a spider's web. Spider web. No, didn't work. Right, that's interesting. Okay, so there's one under the floor here.
This is Origin again, John.
What?
Remember yesterday a bunch of stuff was spawning at the Origin?
It's not though. It's I've probably just put something stupid in for location. This will be something stupid.
Yeah, believe it or not, programmers don't get it right the first time usually.
Right, yeah, okay. So basically what I've done is I've spawned the pebble 600 around the origin.
Oh,
yeah. Well, just no.
This way.
No, they're all spawning in the same spot, just 600 near it. So rather than spawning where they should be. So hang on, get actor location. Add the two vectors together. So rather than just spawning it at that vector, this will now be spawning it from the origin of the web. Right. Yeah.
There we are.
And we have these beautifully decorated.
All in one direction.
Yeah. I need more webs. Where's the webs? It'd be easier to spot if I could see the mini map. But they're all the same pebble as well by the look of it. So that's not worked. Oh no.
Maybe just by random chance.
Yeah.
Definitely needs more rotation on them.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so ooh. Day-night manager function. Ah, it's because because I've reloaded the level, and I'm not able to save the level, so I just need to. What's that? I just
The Catalan ant is called formiga. Yeah, that's quite common. Formica is ant in Latin, where of course we get formica, and we use that for the fusca and the roofer and various things. So lots of the languages that have their roots in romantic languages, that have their roots in Latin, ants will be formigas, or I think in Spanish it's formiga again, or no, hormiga.
Yeah.
Yeah, hormiga. So similar.
Hormigas.
Yeah. So
hormigas.
almost the same. Yeah, just with kind of a soft F, you could call it. Yeah, an F, an H.
Hormigas.
There's extreme amounts of Formica fuscarella. They're super common. Yeah, they're a very successful black ant, or field ant, or whatever kind of you call them, whatever you like. Garden ant. Hundreds of names for them.
Okay, so let's get back to rotating that. Let's get back to rotating that stone, eh? Beautiful. The sunset on that stone. Right. Okay, so back to the auto size pebble. Right, so we've set a scale, so they are slightly scaling, are they? Maybe. Right, I'm actually going to instead of setting the static meshes scale, I'm going to set the actor scale.
Yeah, Tony Bjorn, I think the stream does lag when John's playing the game. I think, I have noticed this. When the engine's running and there's lots of creatures running around, the actual stream upload seems to lag a bit.
Right, okay.
So it's just something to be aware of, but it's not a major problem, But yeah, sorry about that, guys. I think that is an RN, not yours.
Okay. So we've done the scale. Now we want to do rotation. So we can give it a bit of play in more than one rotation. So make rotation. So I definitely want the yaw, which is like rotate on the floor, to be full 360 degrees. So that'll be a random float. And again, we can give it some pitch and roll, but a little
20
bit.
degrees either way, maybe?
We can try and see what it looks like. Okay, so that should give it some. That should give the stone some rotation. We probably want more than one stone, but that doesn't need to be handled here. We probably want a random amount of stones.
I'd say 2 to 4.
2 to 4
would make sense to me. Kind of,
2 to 4 pebbles.
When you're thinking about a place where a small spider might make a den, you might see, a little alcove with stuff that it can crawl under. Yeah.
So we might need to be careful with the pebbles. When we add more of them, is them going into each other?
Yeah, that would look super weird.
Okay,
guys talking about not being able to meet each other because we're on opposite sides of the Atlantic. One word for you guys: sea turtles. Now there's a reference that's quite old these days.
Sea turtle.
Claudia's back.
Nemo?
What have you missed? Not a huge quantity. John's now moved on to
Spiders.
the spiders. Yeah, he's got the day-night cycle working, as you can see. So we're now making the spiders a bit better that we added yesterday.
But I can't find any. Come on, spiders, where are you?
Yeah, we're missing a mini map at the moment.
Yeah.
Just due to technical reasons. So John has to there you go. John has to search around for them when the game loads.
Okay, so let's add a few more pebbles in. So web landmark. Okay, so instead of just doing that, what we want is a for loop. We just want it to do that a few times. Do that a few times.
Everyone got the reference, as it turned out. Tied together with chest hair. Yep.
Yeah, it's Pirates of the Caribbean, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not float, it's an integer. Random integer.
God, my references are off the chain. Sick reference.
Okay, so what did you say? 2 to 4?
That was my thought. Yeah.
So I think if I put 1 to 3, that's right, because it does a 0 run and then a 1, then a 2, then a 3.
Just got a message from a guy on Facebook. It just said, to fight and gain food. Which sounds like a Team Rocket intro, to be honest. You know, in context.
To protect our colony from devastation.
From devastation.
To fight and gain food within our nation.
He sent other messages earlier on, so it makes sense, but it was just weird to see that pop up. To fight and gain food. We're waiting for it to play.
Yep.
Right, okay. Anything come up recently? Any questions? No, just people talking about how great my references are.
So there's 2. There's what I was talking about, the double stone.
Yeah. So there are 2 stones there, right inside each other.
Yeah. So we need to think about that. There's that one. I mean, we need...
You kind of want them to be quite close to each other. Make it
Yeah.
look like a little kind of nesting area. I mean, a small amount of overlap, a small amount of clipping isn't too bad, but...
Small amount, yeah.
Ace 5400. Here's a reference. We're doing references now. This is now a reference stream. Dark
reference
Helmet.
stream
When will
now.
this be now? Colonel Sanders. We've all seen Spaceballs, mate. We've all seen Spaceballs. Yes, we must now continue this stream with ludicrous speed, John. Oh God, I'm making myself cringe now.
Right.
Yeah, it's lagging again. Yeah, when the engine's running, guys, it does lag a little bit. The stream.
Can you see it? Can you see it lag on the...
It's past now, but yeah, it goes jumpy.
Okay. So, what does that need to do? Stop the pebbles overlapping.
Yes.
How do we stop pebbles from overlapping?
What's the average size of a pebble, and make sure they don't spawn within that radius or diameter.
Right, well, it's a rotation, so it's going to rotate. Oh, it's too late. It's just going to tell me it can't save. It's going to spend ages telling me it can't save.
Yeah, John missed the autosave this time, so it's going to take a few minutes. Well, a minute or two. Okay. Next reference up is they're taking the hobbits to Isengard, which I believe
What does it
comes
mean?
from. Well, I think that reference is to a very kind of obscure indie film called The Two Towers, Lord of the Rings, which not many people know about. But we got the reference, mate.
God.
Da, 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 da.
Copyright strike 2.
Your copy of straight number 2.
Oh, come on. It's not going to be able to save. Okay, I need some way of, as it positions a stone, it needs to lock out a certain radius of the... Okay. So where is it? It's spawning the stones here. So this rotation value here on the yaw, the random float that's come through, needs to not be within a certain value of anyone that's gone before. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a variable. I'm going to add an array of floats. So this is going to store the degrees at which it's been spawning the stones. So as the stone spawns,
Thomas2904 apparently knows the entire ring verse in Black Speech. I don't know the entire ring verse, but I can do the thing that's the actual part that's that's transcribed on the ring, which is Ashnas Duraptuluk, Ashnas Grimpatul, Ashnas Taraktuluk, Ashburos Ishli Grimpatul. And I know that because I watched a lot of the Lord of the Rings appendices when I was a bit younger.
okay, so whoa. Random rotator. Make rotator.
That was copyright strike 3, by the way, John.
Okay, so that's turning a... It's this yaw we want to get. Okay. So we want to add the yaw, add the my, add the yaw, add the my, add the yaw.
Coffee or anything, you right?
No, I'm alright. Okay, so we're adding the yaw. Into that, and then basically as we do it, I need to add a check in. So let's do the check down here. And let's say, for example, we don't want any stone to spawn within 10 degrees of it. I think there is a maths function for this. There we go. Okay, so if the chosen spawn value Right, there is an issue with this. And I'll mention it in a moment. In that it won't deal with the point where 360 degrees becomes 0 again. But one step at a time. And we've also got to work out how we want it to handle it. So if it does find that there is one with it, that there is a value within those 10 degrees, do we add 10 on and try again? Do we just try again? Yeah, it's a question. Or do we just not spawn the stone? For now, I'm going to not spawn the stone because that's the easiest solution. However, that might not be the best solution in the long run, so I need to think about it. So it's essentially going to go through all of those. If it is within that range, I can either set a float. I can either set a boolean to say we found another stone within range that gets handled later. It's probably the best way to do it.
Programmer speak, Boolean is a variable which is either a 1 or a 0, or a true or a false. And that's the extent of my knowledge on there.
Yes. So, stone found. So, if it's true, a stone has been found. A stone has been found! Although we're going to want to set that to false before we run the loop. So when that loop completes, if stone found is true, we don't want to spawn the stone. Stone found is false, we can go ahead and spawn the stone.
So at the moment this will reduce the number of stones on average.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to up the amount of stones just so we've got a good test bed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be between 10 and 11 stones now on each one. We'll see if any of them overlap. They probably will, because I mean 10 degrees might not even be enough to deal with it. This is going to start looking like stone circles. Like some sort of weird spider summoning ritual. Place the pebbles at exactly 600 from the funnel web's nest.
You're right. It is starting to look a bit like a fairy ring.
Okay, so
seems to have worked all right.
yeah, I think that's just because 10 is probably not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I want more examples. Oh, maybe not. if I up it to something quite high, so it should never, so they should never overlap, then we can make a decision based on that. So let's say 50. Now they should never overlap. We should not get. They should be nowhere near each other. They should be within 50 degrees of each other, which is quite a lot. Which is
enough.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, you do the mental gymnastics and you get to a point. Yeah, okay.
It's not 50 anyway, it's 100, because it's 50 either side. Which means there should probably only be 3 on each, really. So they're not overlapping. I'm not convinced, because I would have said they're within 100 of each other. Unless there's a case where like one of them can overlap, like the first one it does isn't checked, isn't added. No, it should be added. Let's find another example. Oh, of course though, I said this won't account for when 360 becomes 0. I said that before.
So yeah.
So there's a possibility at the top they won't be even. I think it'll be at the top. But yeah, at the top they'll be able to be closer to each other.
You guys fix the textures to the entrance. Yeah.
We will do it. So like I say, Matt will do the art pass.
Yeah. John doesn't think that's a perfect kind of. Yeah.
No, I think that's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's all good.
That's looks good to me. This looks interesting. So spiders that aren't. I need to get Matt to look at the spider walk animation, because clearly they're not. You can't deal with slower. The tiger beetles aren't too bad, but the spiders just.
Tiger beetles are passable, yeah.
Yeah, clearly the spiders need some work.
Yeah, Thomas is right. That's the art pass. Once all the design is done, and John hands it over to the artist Matt to make it look all pretty.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think it has worked. I think the only problem is the dealing with the. Ooh, but I think there is something built in for it. Because at the minute I'm converting them all into floats, but I think what I can do is keep them as a rotator. It might. Okay, so this is a rotator. Right, I need to look at the various functions that are on it. I can't remember what they. So rotator, okay, so break rotation, I think that's it. Yes, so there's a tolerance. Okay. So, instead of doing what I'm doing at the minute, which is breaking that and using it, what I'm going to do... What did I just do? So this is checking with if one rotation is within is within a certain distance of another rotation. Now, rather than storing a list of floats, it's going to hate me for doing this, but it must be done. It's going to store a list of rotators. Change variable type. It's going to tell me
it's never been done before.
Stone spawn thing. No, go away. Right, okay, so there we go. And now it's going to be a...
See you, Devil. Thanks for joining us. Yep, you can join us again. Probably doing one more tomorrow. And one more later tonight, in fact, but it won't be a dev stream. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, so... I've got this rotator. And this is the... I'm making a lot of sense, aren't I? And this is the rotator... rotator.
The rotator flange.
The rotator flange. We must rotate the rotator flange.
Yeah, same channel, Devil. Yeah, we'll be playing a game. We'll be playing another insect game later on called Beetle Uprising. We're quite looking forward to it. It should be a giggle. Yeah, we won't be announcing it on Steam though, so because it's not relevant to Empires of the Undergrowth. It's just us having a bit of fun later, once the working day is done.
Yeah, actually, this stream will be coming to an end soon.
Yeah, it's
got to think about
dinner time soon. So should we call it 5:30?
A
bit sooner?
Probably 15:15.
15:15. Okay, another 10 minutes for the stream, guys. And then
so hopefully I can get these stones rotating properly.
Yep, okay, so John's going to do 10 minutes of stone rotation development.
Stone rot dev. Okay, so that's basically saying if that rotation, so the freshly selected rotation is equal to the stored rotation within a tolerance of 50, then we go that. So then we do that. Okay. So now that's because we're working with rotators now instead of floats. This should take into account the 360 to 0. So now it shouldn't go wrong, particularly as we're keeping a 50 gap between. Well, it's a 100 gap between. 50 either side. No, it's 50 gap between. What am I talking about? Ah. And it failed.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. A funny effect on the webs at a certain time of day. I wonder if that's just the light going off actually. Might be the
yeah, that's probably it. Path to Equilibrium doesn't think we have time to eat.
No time to eat.
We do have to get the game out, to be fair, John.
I need to think. It's one of my least favourite activities. It hurts so much to think. Right. I'm wondering whether it's I'm wondering whether it's selecting a different rotator each time. Yeah, it might be. In fact, it probably is. So yeah, I think I know what the issue is. Okay, so instead, I'm going to instead of using the rotator each time, because I think what it's doing is every time I'm calling that, it's getting a new random rotation. Instead of doing that, I'm going to save the first random rotation that comes out and then run all the checks and everything off that. So everywhere that's coming off needs to be plugged. This needs to be plugged into. And hopefully this will give us the desired result. If it doesn't, I'm stumped.
If it doesn't, you've got 5 minutes to work it out. Hi, ZVWRS. You are back, yeah, for the last 5 minutes of the stream, I'm afraid. Yeah, we've got to have our dinner. But if you would like to join us tonight, we'll be doing another stream, not a dev stream, of a game, just for fun.
Funsies. Right, to the surface. That one looks good. In fact, I get a bit of lag at the start of the map. I wonder what that is. I do want to find out what's going on with the web as well. At certain times of day, it does seem to shimmer.
Might be that's probably one to ask Matt about, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to remember the whole materials for the web are designed to be underground without any changes to lighting.
Mhm.
Around what time is the stream going to take?
I can see the stream lagging there. It's
actually it's the computer that's doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be because the processing power is being used up running the game.
Yeah.
Wonder why it wasn't doing that yesterday. Oh, but I've added the day-night cycle in. Maybe that makes a big difference to it.
Possibly. What time is the other stream taking place, Claudia? It'll be tonight. We need some time to do, our usual stuff. Should we say 9 o'clock GMT? Yeah, 9 o'clock British time. Yeah. So, yeah, a few hours for us to have our tea and do other stuff we need to do and family stuff and that, and then yeah, okay, about 9 o'clock-ish. We'll be playing Beetle Uprising. Have a look at it on Steam, by the way.
Okay, so I think we've won. I totally think we've won.
John got it. John completed it. I've just had this link from ZVWRS. Did you see this documentary? It's amazing. Yep, we watched it over Christmas. Attenborough's and the Empire of the Ants.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did. We watched it, and it's yeah, we agreed it was an incredible documentary. I've watched it a couple of times. About Formica super colonies and some new science about them. Ants continue to surprise everyone, including the people who study them. Right, we've done it.
Yep.
Okay.
The beach wolf spiders seem to be taking over each nest.
It's like the AI all makes the same decision at the same time.
Oh no, they're set to.
Oh, because they're a pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you said. Okay.
Well, the little ants are taking over. The little spiders have taken over this one. Yeah, they
sliding across.
Spiders shouldn't be
Slowed down by web.
Yeah, that's just silly. That's just silly. There's a hermit crab uprising over here.
Yeah, so much for that beetle uprising.
I'm sure we'll find a beetle uprising around here. Oh, there's a train of dead
They're tiger beetles, aren't they?
wood lice and
Oh, they
tiger
would,
beetles.
yeah.
There's a mix. Right. Okay, I think that's us.
Yeah, time for us to go and have our dinner and do other stuff. Yeah, we'll be back playing another game later on today, guys. If you followed the stream through Steam, we won't be posting it on there because it's not relevant to Empires of the Undergrowth. It's just a bit of fun. But if you'd like to, a bit later on, we'll be playing. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks very much, and we'll see you
either
later
or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or next time, whenever you happen to catch us.